2.3, 2.4, part 2. Here we're going to look at subtraction now instead of addition. So we have a couple more rules and a vocabulary term to know here. Our word is term. That means the parts that are added together to form an expression. And we'll take a look at that more in depth once we practice our subtraction here real quick. So let's go through our subtraction rule. To subtract B from A, we're going to add the opposite. Ooh, that didn't work at all. Let's try that again. It's just not going to like me today. We're going to add the opposite of B to A. So we're going to add the opposite here. So for example, let's say I have A minus B. Okay? In order to do this, I'm going to add the opposite. Okay? So instead of doing subtraction, so instead of having A minus B, I'm going to have A plus negative B. Then it's an addition problem that we work just like we did the last section. So for example, if I have 3 minus 5, okay, I'm going to add the opposite. I see that I have different signs. Different signs tell me to subtract. So 5 minus 3 is 2. And I keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative. Okay? Something to keep in mind is to remember that two negatives together makes a positive. So anytime we see two negatives back to back, we're going to change those to make them positive. So let's look at some problems here so we can look at some examples. Make that a little higher. Okay, so I'm going to write this. Negative 13 minus 4. So again, we're going to add the opposite. So I'm going to say plus negative 4. So here I now have the same sign. So we're going to add them and keep the sign. So negative 13 plus 4 is 17. We keep the negative. In number 2, we see that we have two negatives together, and that makes a positive. So really what I have is negative 4 plus 13. Okay, it's no longer subtraction because these two negative signs here together make a positive. There are different signs here, so we subtract. 13 minus 4 is 9. We keep the sign of the larger number, which is positive. For number 3, again, we're going to add the opposite. Now let's make that a little bit bigger. So we're going to add the opposite. So negative 3 plus negative 8. Same sign, so we add. 3 plus 8 is 11. And we keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative. So again, let's look at number 6. These two negative signs together here make a positive. So really what I have here is not 6 minus negative 2, but I have 6 plus 2. And 6 plus 2 is going to give me 8. 7, 8, and 9 work the same way. The difference we have here is that we need to do just 2 at a time. So if I look and make this a little bit bigger here so I can write on it. Oops. Sign on the other side here. Okay, those two negatives here are going to make a positive. So really, we got to do our negative over here too. Plus a negative. So I really have negative 5 plus negative 3 plus 1. Remember, order of operations, we go left to right. So negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. We add and keep the sign. Here we have opposite signs, so we're going to subtract. 8 minus minus 1, or 8 minus 1 is 7. We keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative. Okay, let's finish up with number 9 here. So, write a little bit bigger here. 3 minus negative 3 minus 9. Okay, two negatives together make a positive, and I'm going to add the opposite. So really what I have is 3 plus 3 plus a negative 9. Again, we go left to right. So 3 plus 3 is 6 plus a negative 9. Those are opposite signs here. So we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So 9 minus 6 is 3. It's negative because we keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative 9. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and stop, and you're going to complete section 2.3, 2.4, checkpoint 2.